Today I purchased this job lot of stremmers. It was on eBay. Some have got one's got a carb missing, a couple have got heads missing, broken pull strings and such like. Anyway, it's a job lot. It's 20 quid and I thought it's well worth a bit of fun and something for me to play with during the winter time. So they're in my greenhouse here, and at the end there's the wood that I've been cutting up on the saw there for the winter time, and that'll go in my little stove and keep me nice and warm in the workshop. I enjoy playing in there, and I find it far more entertaining than watching the total rubbish that's on the TV nowadays. Well, I don't watch the TV, and I spend many happy hours in my workshop. Anyway, we'll keep these for the winter, and I'll have a lot of fun with these, playing, and those I hope to get one or two going, and those that I can't, well, we'll rob for spares and or use for other projects. Can't wait to get my hands on them. A quick look at this one, just to sort of whet the appetite. But as I said earlier, I get tremendous pleasure playing in this workshop, repairing things, making things. I get far more pleasure than that than pretty much anything else. It's satisfaction. It's the fact that I've accomplished something. I often save myself a bit of dosh at the same time. And it's an achievement, and if someone else has failed, it gives me even more pleasure if I'm lucky enough to succeed. And I tend to be I persevere at it, and if I can't use it for what it was intended, I make other things. So as I say, I won't complete this today, but I'll give it just a quick sort of once over and check on a few things. As I say, it's all complete. I think this has been replaced. That's PVC. Experience and starting to learn that petrol additives play up with various plastics. PVC is no good at all. Anyway, I've looked into this a little bit, and I'm certainly no expert, but I understand neoprene is probably the best. It's almost inert to the problems associated with the various additives they put in there. This one's got its bulb, so I can hear it's pumping. Yeah, this is yeah, I'm pretty confident with this one. We'll give it a clean up and check things out, and some fresh fuel, and look at the plug and so forth, and see how we get on. But coming back to the rubbish that you see on the TV. Oh my goodness. All this X Factor and Britain's Got Talent and quiz shows and benign total rubbish. And if you go on the computer, it's all kids with video games. Nothing but smashing cars, shoot 'em up, exploding heads, and all the rubbish that goes with it. No wonder very few nowadays can put a screw in without a guidance or kits or a plan. I find that quite a shame, you know. I was brought up with make, do, mend, waste not, want not. Something that seems to be missing nowadays in this chuck it away society. Anyway, I'm not going to get on political, social issues, but I'm doing my little bit to save the planet and enjoy myself at the same time. Just an afterthought regarding the programmes on the telly. Even the BBC, which at one time had a decent standard, has gone the way of the rest of them. Do you remember some of the old programmes? They're just simply not there anymore. There used to be, there was a Great Egg Race, Heinz Wolf. I used to enjoy that. There was a programme, Adam Hart Davis did one about heroes or something, and his name was, remember that programme? And then there was Tim Hunkin and his mate. I've forgotten his name at the moment. I met him at the Colchester rally when Colchester had a rally. That's all gone now, of course. And I said, you know, I recognised him, and I said, I thoroughly enjoyed the series. Are you thinking of making another one? No, no, and he ran away in horror. So it's a shame. But there's several of these things. Several of them could be interesting, but it's spoilt because they've dumbed it down. You've got things like, or you had things like Robot Wars, which I found quite sort of interesting, but it was spoilt by the presenter idiots acting the blinking goat. And you don't need flashing lights and fireworks and all this, you know. I'd much rather have seen the guys that actually made them. But this is another example of the dumbing down, is things like, I don't know if you have that in the States, but Scrapyard Challenge. Again, you know, it insults my intelligence, because a lot of these pieces are actually put in the scrapyard for them to find. I mean, they come across some beaten up old V8 Chevy something or other, and it's been there for donkey's years because the weeds growing through the radiator, and hey presto, they push a button and it starts. Well, really? Ah dear, when are they going to do something decent? But there we go, they're not going to. So in the winter time, as I say, I spend a great deal of time in the workshop. I've got a little homemade fire, and I burn up all the rubbish and logs, and it's cosy and warm, and I've usually got chestnuts on the top, and well, I'm in heaven. I'm in heaven. Anyway, we'll have a quick look at this, and I'll bring the old camera out later and see how I get on. But I don't expect to finish this today. The camera again, and what I've come across, I've given the whole thing a wipe over with a rag and a bit of petrol and cleaned up all this. It's not much easier to handle now. And I've taken the cover off the carburetor arrangement, and it's all intact, but I can see the mixture adjustment screws, etc. Haven't got their little protective caps on, so I can only deduce that someone's had a fiddle there and didn't bother to put them back. So that was a clue for me, thank you very much. And I thought I'd have a look at the spark plug, and I usually used to use that, which is the one I use on my chainsaw, plenty good enough. Couldn't move it! Could not move it! Unbelievably tight. And I could see it was all chewed up a bit. What on earth? Anyway, I found a socket that would fit, and I've had to use a spanner that length on there, and with quite a bit of force managed to remove the spark plug. Why on earth people put them in like that, I've no idea. I mean, I'm not an advocate of torque wrenches. I've got a general feel for things, but unbelievable. Anyway, I've got it out. You can see the condition. Well, I think you can see the condition of this. It's absolutely full of carbon and muck. So I haven't got a spare. Well, I have, probably with the other streamers, but I'm only going to look at this one. I'm going to be good. So I'll clean this up and we'll just check we've got a spark okay, but I suspect by all that carbon that they've got the mix wrong. That's a 20-to-1 on this, I think it said, and they've probably just done a guesstimate. Well, they want to guess again. Or they've run it on choke because there's a problem, or they've fiddled around with the air mixture and got it all rich or whatever. Anyway, that's this is part of the fun for me. Well, while I'm about it, as I show you the condition of the plug was very carboned up and very mucky, I thought it would be advisable to remove the silencer. It's only 3 bolts, and have a look at the port, and it was pretty much caked up. Anyway, I've cleaned it out, and it's all looking quite clean, and with a small torch I've inspected inside the bore, and I don't think it's too scored up, so that should improve things. I thought it is advisable while I'm at this stage. As I say, I am playing after all. Good job I don't have to earn a living at it. Well, judging from the smoke in here and the colour of my shirt, you can see I've got this one actually running, so I'll reassemble and readjust the carb and put the cover back on. There was a residue of fuel in here which I didn't empty out, and it's very rich in oil, so I'll put just some neat petrol in, run it for a bit, see if we can clean out the general muck, give it a lubrication, and well, we can say this was an easy fix. I did very little to this one. I can't see anything wrong. It just wanted a little bit of TLC. Admittedly, I've probably picked out the best one of the whole bunch, but I'll leave the rest till the weather starts getting bad. It's approaching autumn now, and early part of autumn I'll be out with my boat, and because the old whiting and codling will be coming in. I caught a couple of small ones the other day, so it's near that time. But when the weather is really, really bad, or it's icy or horrible, or the tides are on, I'll come in here and I'll play with a few more. Anyway, just an introduction of what I've done today. A very successful day. I'm very pleased. I've probably got my money's worth with this one. I don't expect 100% success, but I'm hoping I might get one or two more to go, and I'll leave that pleasure for another time. Hope you've enjoyed this. Bye for now. If you're gone, I'm speaking to myself. Just a quick add-on. Yes, I know. I just can't help myself. I needed a quick fix. So I've added this on the end. This is another one. This was in quite a terrible state. I thought I'll grab an old one. This is a Mac 65 SL, and it was pretty mucky. So I'll keep this bit short, but I gave it a general clean up and cleaned the carb. The diaphragm on the carb was the metering diaphragm was really wanted replacing, but I'm not doing this for a living. They're only to help people out, and I can often find that you can get these going without going to the expense of diaphragms by turning them 90 degrees. Took the plug out, cleaned it, generally sorted things around. The cover, plastic cover, which is nice and solid now, over the exhaust. It's important to have that because you can get a nasty burn on your arm. That was just hanging off, and it had split completely in half. I don't know if this is going to show here, but it split right the way across here and hanging just on that one. And what I've done here, get a small screwdriver, that'll do. What I've done here, I've got a spare one. I've got a couple of washers, and I ground a flat on them, and I put, because the flat sits against this casting, and I put one on the inside and one on the outside, and by doing up the little nut, the two halves of the split are held tightly together, and well, that's perfectly solid now. It was generally bent and full of straw and goodness knows what. The pipe that goes from the carburetor into the filter in the tank, it perished just inside the tank and dropped off, so the pipe never reached the fill. I found a piece of, this isn't neoprene, which I recommend, but it's quite old fill pipe, so I'm quite happy with that. I warmed the end, pushed it over here, but getting it through the hole was quite difficult. Don't be tempted to open that hole out. You'll get a leak. Just warm it slightly, push firmly and keep pushing until it slowly goes through. And anyway, it's a bit of a fiddle, but I've done that. And this one now does go. As you can hear, the carb mixtures want adjusting. She's just flogging out when you open the throttle. It's quite common on these little carburetors. There's usually a couple of adjusters. I'm sure you know about those anyway. On this one, it's quite nice because they're quite exposed. Can I get in there? No, not to worry. They're two slots anyway, so you can use a screwdriver to adjust them, which I'll do in a moment. But there are some which have got like little serrations, and you need a special tool to drop on these serrations. Well, there's several ways over that. Well, you can buy the tool, which if you're in business it would pay you to do so. But as I said, I'm not. This is just helping a few people out and so forth. So there's no, and they really rip you off on the price of this. Absolutely ridiculous. So I'm not going down that route. There used to be a guy who used to help us out at a workshop I once had. Bloke with a very broad Scotch accent, and I said something cost so much, and he'd say, "I'm not paying that," and on that principle, neither am I. There's several ways over this. You can use these electrical connectors. Find one that will fit over the, but if they're tight they might slip because they only grab the periphery of the serrations. What I've done, and I find quite simple, is to find a piece of aluminium tube that will nearly go over the adjustment screw, or a piece of copper pipe, as I have here. And this piece of copper pipe is, again, it doesn't show it, but this little piece of copper pipe comes out of a section of condenser at the back of an old fridge. And here the end, and place it over the, and with a very small hammer, no bigger than that, just gently tap it onto the screw, and then just give it a bit of a wiggle so it comes off and on easy, and you've got yourself a nice little adjuster. And that's taken you 15 minutes to make. The only other alternative is to take the screw out, put a saw cut in, but if you do that, count the half turns you take it out so you put it back again. Or alternatively, make yourself a little rose cutter and cut the outside of the aluminium casing away so you can use a conventional screwdriver. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you that one. I've now had me fix. You'll be fed up with stremmers, or weed whackers, or whatever you call them elsewhere. Silly name, I think. It's a stremmer, which is an acronym between string and trimmer. Strimmer. Anyway, that's what we call them in the UK. So, the first two I looked at, success. I'm tempted to stop there, but you know I won't. Right, that's enough of strimmers. The next video will be something entirely different. Good enough for me.